Just giving a sec. Okay. Good evening. My name is Harry, and this is Hasper TV. And tonight we're going to discuss Tottenham versus Brentford on Saturday. And my guest tonight is Steve, who has his own podcast, actually.
Hello.
Steve Hotspur. How are you doing tonight?
Yeah, fantastic. Thanks. Really good. Looking forward to it.
So I think we're just going to crack on and go straight into it. So after yesterday's result, how are you feeling about top four?
Yeah, I mean, you sit down to watch Chelsea versus Arsenal, and you just think, first of all, you've got to support Chelsea. Now, I don't have as much hate for Chelsea as I do Arsenal, so that's the one thing. I want Arsenal to lose every single game, when it benefits us. With Chelsea, so when they play Chelsea, it's the one and only game really that I support Chelsea. Although I can't stand Liverpool either, and so there we go. But look, you sit down and watch it, and you think, great, I get to support what should be one of the top three sides in the country, which is quite rare. When you watch Liverpool v Arsenal, again, you're thinking, right, I get to support Liverpool for a game, fantastic. And or Man City versus Arsenal. It's great because you go, right, don't have to worry so much because they usually beat them, they usually win, and you're like, this is great. I get to, it's not nerve-wracking. But you sit down to Chelsea, you think, yeah, no problem. Chelsea stuffed Southampton 8-0 or whatever it was.
6-0,
brilliant against us, cut 3 times this season. Bit of a wobble here and there. Yeah, the Brentford result was like, do you remember when they played Bournemouth 3 or 4 seasons ago, and it was kind of like that. It was like you think, well, that's the one-off where they get kick up the backside. That won't happen again. And they were absolutely atrocious.
Did you not think the team selection was like really strange?
It was awful. And I thought, first of all, he's picking some players that had played their heart out against Palace, like Loftus-Cheek, who rarely plays. So why he's playing him 2 games in a row, I don't know. And I mean, Lukaku was terrible, but James, who I think, what a good player that young lad is. He played last night worse than Gary Doherty. That is very well. Matt Doherty is very.
I was going to say Matt Doherty or Gary Doherty.
Both. His crossing was terrible, but the number of times Chelsea just kicked the ball out of play on the goal line. There's absolutely rubbish, and I am livid with their performance. It was terrible. Arsenal, did what Arsenal do. They pass it around. That's the way they play. But they're gifted the first goal. Christensen,
yeah.
The second goal was a nice finish. I think he's a decent player, but I think Chelsea gave it away in their own half from memory. The third goal was the worst defending I've ever seen. Get the ball clear, lads, but they didn't do it. And then the fourth goal, please, when we play Chelsea, can Azpilicueta pull down one of our players in the most blatant way? But, obviously it never happens. So, absolutely atrocious by Chelsea. Of course, next time we play them, they'll be outstanding.
So true.
And that's the way it is. What do you think?
Well, yeah, I thankfully didn't watch the second half, so I watched the first half. And I really predicted that it would be 4-2 to Chelsea, and I was completely wrong because after I checked my phone at like 10 o'clock, after I played football for like an hour and a half, it was 4-2 to Arsenal. I was like, what happened?
You didn't watch it?
I watched the first half. I didn't watch the whole game. But I'm mainly the kind of person where I don't like watching these kind of games because it's like, well, I'm putting all my faith in another team to get the job done. And I thought Chelsea would get the job done, but yeah, we saw what happened. But I felt that the team selection was a bit strange because it's like no Havertz, no Ziyech. There was like a long list of players. I was thinking, why are they not playing?
Yeah.
I know they're playing West Ham on the weekend, but still, like, it's Arsenal surely the harder game. You know what I mean? Like, I don't.
Absolutely. I mean,
and we were obviously looking at Chelsea to do us a favour, and they didn't do us a favour.
Well, you mentioned that, and people on Twitter, obviously, and you kind of alluded to the fact that why do we have to rely on teams to do us a favour? And that's what you have to rely on. Sorry, Man City are relying on teams that play Liverpool, us in a couple of weeks, for example, to do them a favour. That's football. So it's a bit of a nonsense to say, oh, why do we always have to worry about someone else to do us a favour? That is football. You do have to watch other teams and hope that they get beat, because it's all part of it. United coming up is an interesting one, because have United, have they played one more game than us?
Yeah.
So
they're on 33 and we're on 32.
That's okay. They're 3 points behind, and we've got a game in hand. So if they beat Arsenal a few hours before we play, they'll be level on points, but obviously 2 games in hand. If we win ours, we go 3 points ahead. But then you almost got to write off that Liverpool game. Just for argument's sake. Just for argument's sake, yeah. They're playing so well, Liverpool. So you sort of wipe that. So then you're like, right, okay, so we're only 3 points ahead of United if those results go like that. United have just announced a new manager who seems a decent guy. Ronaldo is back, which is on a purely footballing sense, great to see. The heart goes out and everything, and most people watching this or listening to it, and myself and possibly yourself as well, have had tragedy, of that like in their lives, and we can all relate in certain ways. So it's absolutely, devastating and life-changing what's happened to him. But on a purely football basis, it's good to see him back against Arsenal with the bit between his teeth, possibly, And this is a football show, so that's what we're talking about. This is not loose women or anything. We're talking about football here. So, we don't need to get in the ins and outs of, whether he should, whether he shouldn't. That's for other people to discuss. We're talking about football, and I'm pleased to see Ronaldo back on a football pitch on Saturday against Arsenal.
Yeah, but like for me, I think before the Brighton game, I was like 90% sure we're going to finish top 4, and then after the past 2 games, now I'm just like 50-50, because Arsenal won at Chelsea and we lost to Brighton, so I'm just like, it's making me a lot more worried for the game.
Did you do a review of the Brighton game?
Yeah. With Jacko. I don't know if you know Jacko.
Is Jacko done a podcast with anybody?
No, he's quite big on Twitter. I don't know if you know him.
Oh, okay.
He's Italian. Okay. He's a content expert, basically. I consider him content expert. Yeah, Italian football expert.
He did do a podcast. I was on his podcast.
Were you? Oh.
Isn't it Cock and Ball? Didn't he do Cock and Ball?
Maybe he was on it, but I don't think that's his podcast.
The Italian guy. Yeah. I think he did. I think that's his show. But they've stopped it now.
Oh, have they? Oh,
yeah. I'm sure that's the guy.
I didn't realize it was him. Because we talk on. Do you know Twitter Spaces?
The biggest thing. What I always say, right, in these games, what we don't turn up or we don't perform. People, for example, go straight to Royale. They go straight to Winks. They go straight to the Bentoncourt. Didn't have a great game.
Højbjerg.
Well, look.
I hear a good game.
No, here's the thing, though. Here's the thing. Højbjerg was probably our best player, right? Because everyone else was so terrible. What I do in these games is I don't look at those fringe players and think, if only we could upgrade. I mean, like you do, Lee, you should have bought someone better. Leave it. Actually, I look at someone like Kane, and from minute one, Kane stuck himself up front. And I turned around to my boy and I just said, Kane wants a goal today. You can see it. You can see that he's standing right on the last man, and he didn't move from that position. He moved after Brighton scored. After Brighton scored in the last 3 or 4
He dropped, didn't it?
Minutes.
Yeah.
He dropped back a little bit.
Yeah.
But up until then, he was actually up front for the entire game. And it was almost as if he's thought to himself, oh, I really want a goal today. And the more I drop, other people are scoring. That was what I was thinking anyway, watching it. And it almost needed Conte, and people have criticised Conte for this, quite rightly, that his input on the game wasn't what we wanted. Again, Tuchel last night, sitting on the bench. Sorry, whenever we play against Chelsea, Tuchel is standing on the other side of the line that he's supposed to be, barking orders, shouting at the assistant ref, going crazy. Last night, he sits on the bench the entire second half with his arms folded. Drives me mad. Anyway, back to Conte. Obviously you're sitting near him. He's over the other side to me, so I don't see him as much. But why isn't his instruction, Harry, you have been brilliant dropping back into the hole. Can you please do that? And so I blame Harry Kane for Saturday's appearance. Of course, I'm going to give him some slack, and he can play the next game, no problem. Yeah. But Son was terrible.
Kulusevski.
Well, Kulusevski is new, so I'm not going to blame him so much. No. It's the big established players. Dyer for their goal. Terrible. Absolutely terrible. Lloris, a little bit more, he's a goalkeeper, but, he's the captain, World Cup winning captain, still the current World Cup winning captain. Where's your guidance? Where's your shouting at the team and what have you? We were dreadful.
I think for me, with Kane, I don't know if you noticed, but he went to like the US or something for what was it, the Masters, and some people were speculating, he'll be jet lagged or something like that. I mean, I don't know how much of an effect that has on him, and but surely it wouldn't have that much of an effect, you'd think. But at the same time, Kane was awful, Son was awful. I mean, 9 of the 11 players were awful. Yeah. So.
And we didn't.
I don't know why we expected a different result. So
Bergwijn coming on with 5 minutes to go was a ridiculous decision as well. It's saying we've got nothing on the bench. We have got at least 3 players on the bench.
Yeah, I'd say that.
Winks isn't one of them, by the way. I don't know what's going on there. Although Bentancur looked poor. So look, hopefully, fingers crossed. We had a nice little run, after the win-loss. We had a nice little run. What did we win? 5 out of 6 or something?
Something like that, yeah.
Something like that. Yeah. So hopefully that's a little, bump in the road. And, and we only lost 1-0 in the last minute. So it's not a tragedy. We didn't lose 3-0 in a disgraceful, capitulation. So hopefully it was a little bump in the road, and against Brentford on Saturday, we get a bit of luck. Maybe that referee as well is the guy that someone pointed out was the guy that looked miserable when we scored against Man City.
It's Andre Mariner, I think.
Against Brighton.
Oh no, Andre Mariner's a referee for Saturday. I checked.
Do I like him? No, not really. Not really. So
I don't really look too much into referees personally. I just think we go out there, get the job done, and then
I think some referees definitely have a little word with themselves. I'll tell you a case in point. Definitely Mike Dean. So Mike Dean went with the Villa goal, Dembele, and everyone said, "Oh, look at him celebrating." What was it? The next 5 or 6 games? He gave nothing to Spurs. We lost.
Yeah, I remember. I remember that.
But as if to make a point. And then he went on Peter Crouch's podcast and actually said, after I got told I was a Spurs fan, after the Dembele celebration thing, that's probably the biggest criticism I've ever had. Yeah, wasn't it just? Because the next 6 games we lost. And then the other one is who was the bald guy who gave Man United penalty after penalty?
I know who you're talking about, but I can't remember his name.
Yeah, for about 10 years. He retired about 10 years ago, but he was like 20 years to 10 years ago. Anyway, everyone was saying, what a brilliant referee he was. He was absolutely atrocious with Tottenham games. I think he gave the penalty where, was it Gomez in goal?
I remember that.
And he got 2 hands on. No, he got 2 hands on the ball, and they gave a penalty against Carrick. I think it was actually
Howard Webb.
Carrick went to go round Gomez. He got 2 hands on the ball. They gave the penalty.
Webb. I don't know.
Howard Webb.
Refs. That's what I was looking at the refs. Yeah,
Howard Webb. But what happened was, do you remember the game? I think it was the game where Bale played brilliant, and we got the win after years and years and years.
Yeah, I remember that game.
ADB,
Yeah,
I think was the and what happened was I think it was 3-2. In the last 5 or 6 minutes, I think United had about 4 decisions that they didn't get. Particularly, I think there was an incident where Ashley Young went through, and it was a definite penalty, Lloris Foden, but Howard Webb didn't give it. And I just thought to myself, I don't analyse these things too much. I just thought he's given us that because of the number of times that he's mugged us off. So I do think referees are dodgy. Clattenburg, another one. What referee has ever said, I thought I'd let them self-destruct? What's that all about? Perhaps, right, if Walker, now I'm talking about the Chelsea game here, if Walker would have got booked or maybe sent off for kicking that player in the first, was it Hazard? No, it wasn't Hazard because he wasn't on the pitch. It was whoever it was in the first couple
Which
of minutes.
Game? Sorry?
He kicked them. Had the Chelsea.
Do you mean the
Chelsea
2-2
away?
at Stamford Bridge?
Yeah. So Clattenburg has come out afterwards and said, in his book, and said, I didn't want to send anyone off on Spurs. I just wanted them to self-destruct. What sort of thing is that?
Mean?
Yeah, exactly. What might have happened is if he'd have sent someone off, we might have said, right, we better stop kicking him here because that's all he did, really. He's actually. But what he did was he let loads go. Told them off and said, just let them self-destruct. What sort of thing is that for a ref to say? So there's definitely dodginess going on. And I await to hear, referees say, something positive about us because, like I say, it seems to be, Atkinson. He's a terrible ref as well against us. Terrible.
But I think there is a sort of a media bias against us in some ways.
Oh, definitely.
I didn't believe that a few years ago, but now I kind of do.
Well, it goes to show. Talk Sport. Man United beat us. Sorry, I'm doing all the talking here. But Ali McCoy.
That's fine.
Man United beat us, right? The very next day, Kane needs to leave, and they go, well, whereabouts? City. Yeah, but City don't pay the money. Oh, well, United then. And then they said, well, why would you go to United now? And he said, because they've got a better chance. Well, so what if they've got a better chance? So he's going to leave Tottenham to go to Manchester United. And then at the end of his career, they'll say, oh, well, you didn't win anything, but at least you went to Man United and played your last 3 or 4 years with Man United where you had a better chance. What's that? No, you either leave to win trophies or you stay at Tottenham and you become the greatest ever striker they've ever had. What's the point of going to United? Just so you can have a better chance. And even then it was reactionary because look where United are now. I mean,
I think it's because United is sort of like part of the traditional top 4. That's why they keep banging on about, United should be like this. Oh, this player can go United because it's such an attractive club.
It's like he'll be the first one. Now they've got Ten Hag. They'll say you look at the paper tomorrow. They'll go Ten Hag's potential 11, and they'll have Kane up top. They might even have Son as well, and they'll just go, if he's going to spend this, guarantee there'll be some. Castles, is it? Is the United journalist?
Yeah, he's United. Yeah.
Duncan Castles, right? So whoever he writes for, I don't know, but it'll be United to be given, or Ten Hag to be given £350 million war chest, or after they sell these 12 players, this is how much money they'll have. Because of course that's how football works, isn't it? You just sell 12 and buy another 12. It doesn't work. We know because we're Tottenham fans.
We know how that works.
So they'll go, right. So Harry Kane up top, then they'll have Mahrez from City, and then they'll have whatever fringe players are on this. Saka from Arsenal, and then they'll have all these players that are all sort of on the fringes of Declan Rice, of course, he'll be in the middle of midfield.
Yeah.
And people will look at it and rub it, and they'll talk sport, and they'll go, Kane up front, and it's like, hang on a minute. What world do you live in? It's bizarre, and it does your head in. But you're right, the media, without a doubt, every time we lose, Kane needs to leave. That's a fact. That's not us being paranoid.
Yeah.
How many times have you turned on the TV after Arsenal have lost and they've said Saka needs to leave, Smith
Never.
Rowe needs to leave?
Never.
Even Declan Rice at West Ham, when they lose a
Yeah.
game, do they say, well, if they don't win anything, Declan Rice has to leave?
No.
Not at all. It's all, no, Declan Rice needs to stay and build a legacy at West Ham. It's completely different. So you've got we know about the teams that have a bias against us. All the top 4 London teams, if you like, 3 of them hate us the most. Okay, whereas we really only hate Arsenal.
One of them,
mostly.
Yeah.
And then it's Chelsea and West Ham, whatever, right? But they all hate us the most. So it's teams hate us the most. And put on top of that, by the way, Liverpool, because they hate Harry Kane. City, because we always beat them. United, because we've kind of taken their place. Southampton, I think we're their most hated club. And there's like loads more as well. Watford, probably.
Man City, I think now.
The Man City, because we always beat them. But yeah. So it's teams hate us. Then you've got fans, obviously, with the bottlers. Yeah, you go to any team, Macclesfield Town, Port Vale. Which team are bottlers? Oh, that would be Tottenham. Why is that? Oh, because they bottled the League Cup, the Champions League final. Oh, right. So we're the bottlers, are we? Like, Everton aren't the bottlers. No, Everton are the survivors because they're going to survive this year. Yay, Everton, the survivors. Tottenham, bottlers. Yeah, cheers. So you've got the fans who are against us. You've got the refs saying things like, "Oh, let's just let Tottenham self-destruct." Yeah, cheers for that. And then you've got the media who, whenever we lose, Harry Kane, where should he go? He needs to leave. Crying out loud.
It's literally every day though on TalkSport. Pretty much about Harry Kane. Whenever we lose, it's like every day on TalkSport. That's exactly what they say. They're just like, he needs to go. But for me, I feel like he's probably going to stay for the rest of his career now because Haaland's going to City. So I don't see him going anywhere now.
That's not a done deal, though, is it?
I think it's pretty much done. But
you reckon?
Yeah, they're offering him $500,000 a week. Sorry.
Yeah, you love speculation. I see you on Twitter all the time. Yeah. Like some random like Daily Hotspur or something. And no offense, Daily Hotspur, but they'll like retweet. They'll tweet something.
Yeah.
And you'll go, "Wow, that's ridiculous." And I'm like, Harry, that is speculation. Don't worry about it.
Well, it's interesting because I speak to a lot of people who say, "Oh, we're watching this player. Oh, we're watching this player." And we're going to go on to Eriksen now because we might as well speak about Brentford. So, in light of what's happened last night, and obviously I lost against Brighton, do you fancy us still to beat Brentford, or do you think we're going to slip up again?
I would say, yeah. Look, I was talking to my mate at school today, and we were talking about. He said you love the law of averages, and I think Brentford have won their last 3 games. Is that right?
Have they?
I think Brentford have won something like their last. Well, they beat Chelsea, didn't they?
And they beat Chelsea away 4-1, I think, didn't they?
Yeah, they beat West Ham 2-0, and I think they won at the weekend as well.
Yeah, they did. Eriksen scored.
Yeah, so 2 things about that. First of all, law of averages. Does a team like Brentford win 4 in a row? No, they don't. I mean, we barely win 4 in a row, let alone it's Brentford, right? So that's the first thing. Secondly, Brentford, if they beat us, right, that means that this season, in their first year in the Premier League, as I think, that means they've beaten West Ham, Arsenal, which they did in the first game of the season, Chelsea away, and Tottenham, right? The 4 biggest London clubs. Will that happen? I mean, what an amazing season that would be if Brentford do that. So again, by law of averages, I'm saying
we should win.
That's not going to happen because, again, just from a Spurs point of view, when do we ever go into the summer going, well, we just beat Arsenal, Chelsea, and West Ham? Lovely. It doesn't happen. We might scrape 2 of the 3, but most likely we beat West Ham, draw
1 or something.
So just law of averages. I'm hoping that we get back on track. And Kane's had a little word with himself and thought, actually, what was that all about? I need to drop back in that hole. He'll still get his goals. He still takes the penalties. Don't take any more free kicks, obviously. But that is his brilliant position because he's such a brilliant player. So yeah,
I think with
I'm
Kane
expecting us to win. But
comfortably,
what do you reckon?
I think we'll win 1-0. I'm quite worried. I've got to be honest, because of Eriksen. He's hit form,
Yeah,
and they've got other players like Ivan Toney.
he's looking
And
good, isn't he? Would you have him at Spurs?
Maybe I would say he's on my list as a backup striker, to be honest.
Yeah.
But
See,
whether he'll come sit as a backup is another story.
I don't know. I don't know. The whole striker thing. You guys who play FIFA and that, a lot better than me. But I don't. Do you remember like when what was it, 10, 15 years ago, when we had for England, for example, like 5 or 6 really brilliant strikers. And, it's like Sheringham, Shearer, Collymore, Ferdinand. Basically every Premier League team had at least
English
one
striker.
excellent striker. And then, but now, I mean, even for England, when Kane finishes, who's the next England striker? Calvert-Lewin?
Patrick Bamford? I don't know.
Patrick Bamford, I mean, yeah.
I'm just throwing out names at this point.
Yeah, exactly. I mean,
I think Calvert-Lewin's quite one-dimensional.
Well, exactly. That's my point. When Kane leaves, I don't know what we're going to have to. We'll have to play with a false 9.
But the thing with Kane at Tottenham is that I feel like he has to drop deep because we don't really have going on again about him, but Eriksen or a player like that.
Yeah.
So he kind of has to. And Son and Kulusevski have to make, or the Kulusevski's a bit different, but they have to make these runs to support us scoring because Kane has to drop deep for the creativity, which is probably why Son's goals are so high this year. He's got 17 in the league.
Yes, yeah.
Crazy, considering people say he's had a bad season, and he's got 17 Premier League goals.
No,
I don't think he's had a bad season.
He's been up and down.
Yeah,
he's been up and down a little bit. I'm going to be 10 seconds.
Okay, that's fine.
Hang on, go on. I'm still here. Right. Thirsty. Yeah, go on. Okay, yeah, so right. I mean, let's just talk about Eriksen then. I mean, first of all, would you have him back?
At this point, probably yes. I think we're so desperate for a creative player, you kind of have to take him back.
And what about the debate? And I'm going to add another name to the debate, actually.
Okay.
Right. So you can have Eriksen or Bale or Modric.
I was going to have to go Modric in that sense.
Yeah.
Because
see, my son said no, he's too old. Yeah. But hang on a minute. He's just played the best, the pass that's put his team into the Champions League semi-final. He played the entire game, I think, didn't he? Including extra time. And one of the things that Tottenham do, which is probably our downfall, is I think we do look at players and we go, "Oh, they're too old." And I know that's probably it's probably a Levy thing, but like
it is.
even sort of and a case in point, someone like James Milner, who about 7 or 8 years ago. I remember like James Milner was wherever he was and it was like, oh, he's available. And it's like, oh, no, we don't want him. And he's brilliant. I mean, he still plays like every other game for Liverpool, gives 100%. And I'd say even take him, but the thing is, I was speaking to a Liverpool fan about him, I think last season.
Yeah.
And I said, about James Milner? He said, oh, yeah, he's absolutely brilliant. I said, how old is he now? It's like 35, 36, something like that. And I was like, how would you feel if he came to Spurs next season? He's like absolutely devastated.
Because he just does a job.
He just does a job.
Yeah.
But he doesn't, he's not old. He's old, but not in the way he plays. He's just steady Eddie, brilliant, just solid, tackling, passion, passing, even scores goals, penalties. But we go, oh, too old for us. And it's like, sometimes you just got to go, no, brilliant player. Chelsea, Thiago Silva. I mean, Thiago Silva, they go, what a load of rubbish. I watched him, not against Arsenal, he was dreadful. But the start of the season, and this is his second season, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Last season and start of this season, absolutely fantastic. What a player. It's still going, and we look at these players and go, "Oh no, we don't want." Who's the
He's too old. He's too old.
Who's the Barcelona guy that we were linked with? And I was like, "Oh yeah, fantastic."
Oh, Rakitic.
No, the defender with the tattoos, Brazilian
Dani
guy.
Alves.
Yeah,
Yeah. Were
and it
people
was
saying
like,
no
"Oh."
to him?
We were linked with him, weren't we, at one point?
Yeah.
And it was like, oh, yeah, please. And I was like, no, he's way too old. I said, you kidding me? Dani Alves walking around the dressing room telling everyone to buck their ideas up. And oh, no, he's too old. It's like, we need to get some of these superstars. These guys are superstars. They're
One name
brilliant
I can
players.
give you. One
Go
name
on.
I can give you that we have been, well, I've been told we've been looking at. His name always comes up. You know, Perisic.
Yeah,
And he's available on a free.
absolutely.
I mean, he's a player I'll take. We need someone like that in the dressing room.
These guys are world superstars. You watch the World Cup; they'll all play. They'll all be brilliant. They will get their teams into the quarterfinals and semi-finals. We'll be watching. Croatia, really, I don't even know. But if they are, then we'll be watching. Believe you me, Modric scoring brilliant free kicks or whatever he's doing. He'll be in the centre of midfield, splaying the balls everywhere, and you'll go, wow, what a performance.
He's still world class.
I think they might have been knocked out.
He's still world class, Modric, for me. Every game I watch him, he's
in the centre midfield for Real Madrid, and they just knocked Chelsea out.
Yeah.
Of course he's not a bit part player.
Yeah.
He played the whole game.
Yeah.
For these teams. So
they won't let
Modric,
him go.
would you?
So yeah, Luka Modric.
Yeah, I think
every day of the week.
I think I'm leaning towards Eriksen. I'm leaning towards Eriksen.
He's more realistic.
Modric's too old. No, I'm leaning towards Eriksen, but I would love to see Bale because of that season he came back, obviously, and we didn't get to see him.
Yeah,
I just think that the wall, behind the goal, that south stand. I think singing the Bale song is something that would be pretty special.
The romantic in me says yes, but the practicality of it is a bit complicated because I don't know if you speak. Do you know Paul O'Keefe on Twitter?
Yes.
Yeah, so he's very saying, "Oh, Spurs could probably." I'm not saying it's going to happen, but it could happen again. I mean, because he's going to be on a free. But it's better if we just get him if Wales make qualification, because otherwise he won't be motivated to play, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Because if Wales don't qualify, he'll be like, oh, I can't be asked.
Yeah. I don't know. It's a weird one. He comes and plays for us. But, Mourinho, your man, obviously. But and he was mine and Collins. On the podcast, we said, Mourinho, brilliant. He'll be fantastic. But it was just such an odd, an odd thing that he did at Tottenham, whereby you go in right. He started off with 4-2s and all these goals, and we was like, hang on a minute, I thought he was going to come and be defensive, and then after 6 months, we scored a goal in some dreadful game. We'd score a goal, and then we'd shut up shop.
Yeah,
but we didn't really shut up shop because all we did was just said, put the pressure on, and then eventually the other team scored, and then we did the same the next game, and it was like, no, you've got to change your tactics now. We've got to do something different, and he didn't, and that was weird. However, saying that, as everybody says, with that cup final, I mean, Levy, you hate Levy, I know you do, but and I am, I don't know, I'm 50-50. As I say, some decisions absolutely are appalling, and some decisions I'm like, Conte, for example, good decision.
Paratici, yeah,
good decision. I suppose.
I think so as well.
Well, without Paratici, you don't get Conte. So and then Kane probably doesn't improve.
Doesn't stay either.
Well, they're good decisions made by him. Stadium, fantastic stadium, love it. The cockerel, when you drive up or when you get on the train, you see that cockerel. What a great idea. A brilliant part of the stadium. I love that cockerel. I think that's a brilliant thing about the stadium. Anyway, What was we saying? Yeah.
So on Brentford,
about sacking Mourinho.
You were talking about Mourinho. See,
so
I
just
didn't
that
agree with the
sacking
sacking.
Mourinho.
I didn't
What
agree
an
with the sacking.
awful.
Yeah.
No, absolutely not.
Yeah.
It was an awful decision. With 6 games to go, 6 days to go before the League Cup final.
Yeah.
What a
and
ridiculous
Harry wasn't happy
decision.
either. Not me. I'm saying
Yeah.
Harry Kane wasn't happy either.
Yeah, well, I mean, some say that it was Harry Kane that was leading the chant because was it 2-2 against Everton, and then apparently the dressing room after that was people were saying that you've got to get rid of this guy. He's not letting us attack. I don't know.
Because I think like Kane and Son kind of stuck with him from what I heard, and maybe Højbjerg as well. Let's say, but the players like the Dele Allis, the Harry Winkses, they were like, no, we don't want him anymore.
I know. Right, Brentford, you said.
So do you think Eriksen will have an effect on the game then tomorrow? Oh, sorry,
I think he will.
Saturday.
He's a brilliant player, isn't he?
Yeah.
I'll tell you what, it would be so annoying, but you can see 1-0 to Spurs, then 2 minutes left, a fantastic Eriksen shot, like he used to do for us.
Yeah.
I think he did it against Palace away, Brighton. A European game, Inter Milan, was it? Where he just pops up. He's a class player. He's absolutely class.
We haven't replaced him, so that's the problem, really.
Is he out of contract with Brentford?
So what it is, I think they signed like a deal to the end of the season.
Yeah.
And then he's on a free.
Let's get him signed up now.
But apparently, I read today that he's told Brentford and told everyone that he's going to make a decision at the end of the season.
Yeah, but we need to. Yeah, but what I'm saying, I mean, that's fine. But have we been on the phone to him? We need to declare our interest. And
I know we're interested because Fabrizio's been reporting it for like the past week.
Well, and the thing is, what does he know? But what I would say,
it's not just him, but I'm saying it's just the first name that came to my head.
What I would say is that make it clear. But these clubs know what they're doing when they say like Harry Kane needs to leave. That's because the club goes, yeah, we're interested. Get it over, splash it over the newspapers. Fergie was a master at it. He'd tell the Sun and the Mirror. They'd say, right, newspaper, tell them tomorrow that I'm interested. It's it's a way of tapping up, isn't it? Without actually tapping up, just tell them that we're interested in that player. Carrick or wherever it is. Fergie wants Carrick. Carrick then picks up the Sun, and goes, oh, this is quite good. Do it before the Brentford game. Spurs are interested in Eriksen.
Yeah, maybe we can do the same thing.
Does he then, turn around to his manager and say, oh,
I can't play.
Have you read this? And his manager says, is it going to affect you today? He goes, well, I'm not sure. Leaves Eriksen on the bench.
But I think with Eriksen also, it's like people forget what happened in the summer. Like, for me, that was a really, really bad experience because I was at the Mwamba game, for example.
Oh, the what game?
And just, when he obviously died for like 6 minutes. Eriksen.
Oh, sorry, yeah. You was there?
I was not there. I was at the Mwamba game. So it reminded me a lot of that. Yeah, it reminded me a lot of that. And I couldn't watch it. I switched off the TV after I think a couple minutes. I can't remember. I just couldn't watch it. And people forget that he came back from that. And now he's playing at this level again. It's a bit crazy. Like, I was quite apprehensive about us getting him back because of that. When he was looking for a club. Yeah. Obviously, he's kind of proved himself now at Brentford that he can. Obviously, he's back at that level.
Yeah.
It's a bit different, but I was just more worried about his health more than anything else, if anything.
Yeah, I mean, look, again, let's talk football.
Yeah, I know. I'm just bringing it up because I'm talking about Eriksen.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. If this is a moralistic podcast, you go, cool. Yeah, I don't want to go through that again. But football-wise, let's get him back.
Top class. Top class. Let's get him back.
Let's get him back. But I'd have him. I think his wages would be okay. The other problem with Bale is the wages because is he out of contract in the summer?
Yeah.
Yeah, but would he want? What's he on? 3.5. 350. Like it's too much money. I don't want to pay him that. Even if Levy said, "Yeah, we're going to pay him that," I would say it's a bad decision. I would say it's a bad decision. Don't do it if he's going to want that much money.
Thing with him is like you don't know what Bale you're going to get. That's the only thing that worries me the most. With someone like Eriksen, it's more of a guarantee, or Modric, of course, he will never come, but it's more of a guarantee that they're going to come in and do a job.
No, Modric. What is he? Is Modric 36?
Yeah, I'll still take him for 2 more years.
Modric will play for Real Madrid for at least another
3
season.
years. I think he'll play for 2 more
years.
At
least another season.
Yeah.
Why would they get rid of the player that played in centre midfield and has got them into the semi-final of the Champions League? He's like Liverpool might get rid of Milner because Milner now is a bit part player.
It's a bit different.
But Modric plays every single game for Real Madrid in the centre of their midfield.
It's crazy to think that they voted him like the worst signing when he signed for them, like the first season. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
Who's
our worst signing that's turned out to be okay? Who was terrible to start with? You're too young, but Waddle was awful in his first season. Dreadful. And then, of course, he's like, well, he's my hero now. So, who was terrible? Who can you remember who was like terrible in their first season and then like turned out?
Some people say Son, but I like Son from the beginning.
No, Son scored, didn't he, against Palace first game?
But some people didn't like him. I remember.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of someone who was like really, really bad in his first season.
Was really bad, yeah. And then,
I mean, there's sort of players I can think of that we sold and we brought back that were really bad at Tottenham, and then we sold them and we brought back like Yunus Kabul. Was a bit different because he was just like awful in his first spell, and then Harry brought him back and he was like a different player.
Yunus Kabul is the example I always give when people say, I like players that play with a smile on their face. I'm like, that applies to some players, but not to Kabul. Because when Kabul played with a smile on his face, which was most games, he was awful. When Kabul looked miserable, when he looked stroppy, when he looked angry, he was a good player.
Yeah.
But when he kept smiling and going, hey, this is great.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, you just scored. Oh, yeah.
It was in his first spell. He was like really wild, I remember.
Yeah.
And then the second spell, Harry brought him back, and I was like, "Well, I loved Harry Redknapp, so I just had a complete faith that he'll make him into a player."
That's again Levy's also. Look, I knew that Levy didn't like Harry Redknapp about 3 months into his tenure. Yeah.
I heard that he was a short-term appointment, but he turned out to be better than he was, and then they had to keep him on.
Harry Redknapp is his own man. Like
I love
100%, and he's a football man.
Yeah,
and he's like an old school football guy, and I think he's absolutely fantastic. And I'm amazed the way he talks about Tottenham because he's so positive about Tottenham,
despite what happened. Yeah,
unlike Jamie, who's atrocious.
Yeah.
Who if you watch the Afterlife.
I know.
It's just the best line ever. But
he hates Tottenham.
He hates Tottenham.
Harry speaks like, "Oh, Tottenham could win the league. Oh, Tottenham could do this."
Yeah, Harry goes, look. But what Harry says is they keep these players together, and they've got a good team.
Yeah.
And we say it as well as Spurs fans. We go, if we can keep our first 11, not this season, because I think the fullbacks aren't good enough. A centre midfielder's not good enough. But in previous seasons, I think we look at it and go, if we can keep that first 11, we've got a great side. We've probably got the best side. But what happens is, as soon as you say that, Kane twists an ankle and he's out for 8 weeks. Son at the same time. A centre midfielder gets injured for a month. One of the centre backs goes, and you're like, oh, right, okay. So that's what happens with Tottenham. We still have this massive problem with injuries. But Harry Redknapp, I heard that he sort of came into Spurs, and Levy didn't like him from the start. And that's why the whole Nelson Saha thing happened. he knew that he wasn't his, he wasn't his man. And we finished fourth. Don't forget that year.
I know. That's
and watching was it Drogba that scored the
Oh
equaliser?
God, yeah.
Robin missed a penalty in the
He
game.
hit the bar as well, didn't he?
Hit the bar.
Yeah.
They absolutely pummeled Chelsea, Bayern Munich, and then all the Germans missed their penalties.
And I remember watching that game, and I was watching it. I was at university at the time, and I was like, I'm not going to the bar to watch it because I just can't do this. And I watched it at my flat on my laptop because obviously it was like on an iPlayer or something. As soon as the game ended, I switched off my laptop and just stared at the wall for like 20 minutes. I was like, I don't know what to think anymore.
Well, if you can be bothered, look at the match stats for that game, right?
Yeah,
it's something like Bayern Munich 26 chances, Chelsea 3, something like that, right?
Yeah.
And the other next season they played Benfica, I think it was, in the Europa League Cup. Same thing happened. Benfica had about 25 chances, Chelsea had about 3, and won the game.
Oh my God!
And that is the way the cookie crumbles with these teams. Not with Spurs. I mean, I would love it if we played against Brentford and they had 20 chances and we had 2 and we won the game 1-0. Yeah. We're perfectly happy with that.
So what do you think in terms of the team selection? Because the only team selection change I can think of is Sessegnon for Reguilon. That's what everyone keeps telling me. So do you think Sessegnon will come in for Reguilon next game?
No, I think he'll drop Royale and I think he'll play Sessegnon on the right. Or Reguilon, whoever. But here's my thing about that. I wonder if, look, I manage a team, my school team, and I look at my players and I think, who can do a job for me? And pretty much, because they're 10 and 11, it's not like, the most skillful players, the playground players, they're not that good when it comes to actually playing matches.
I know what you're saying.
Because they've got all the skill, but actually, and this is where it's a bit old school, but it is true. The tougher players, the players that get stuck in are the most useful players. Like the players that can welly the ball.
I know what you're saying, yeah.
The players that can actually get the ball over the halfway line, they're the good players because it puts the other team under pressure. And goalies get nervous and everything. So I just tell the players, shoot as much as you can, get the ball up front. And the point I'm making here is that what I kind of do is I pick players that I know are going to not give their all, but going to get stuck in. Okay. So with me, I'm looking at Spurs and I'm thinking, who can we play at right wing back? Who is going to do a job for us? Not going to let us down. Somebody that is going to want to play there, right? Yeah. So you look at someone like Mora. Now, Mora, is he left-footed? I think he's left-footed.
No, he's right-footed. I think you're thinking of Bergwijn. Bergwijn's left-footed.
I'm just thinking the goal he scored in, the last-minute goal, second goal, was with his left, wasn't it?
Yeah, but I think he is right-footed, isn't he?
And also the second goal was with his left, wasn't it?
Are we talking about Ajax?
And the first, for that matter. I think he's left-footed, Mora.
Is he?
He scored all 3 with his left. I'm pretty sure of it.
I thought he was right-footed.
If you replay the goals in your head, I think all 3 was with his left, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think you're right, actually.
Certainly, anyway.
I thought he was right-footed personally because he plays on the right.
If Conte goes to Mora or to Bergwijn, right? And I'm thinking the reason I'm talking about these 2 players are because I'm talking about our best players, right? So, and the players are on the bench. So I'm thinking, right, okay, who are our best players? Who will do a job for us? Who will come in and be thankful for that? And I'm not too sure that either of those 2 will be happy with that. The next player, and you're going to go, what? And everyone's going to go, what? Is Harry Winks.
What, a right wing back?
If you say to Harry Winks,
what?
Right?
Okay.
Would you... you've been on the bench all season. You haven't played a game, but you love your Spurs. Can you come and do a job at right wing back?
Do you think he'll be up for it? I don't think he would, to be honest.
Well, I think he would be up for it. And I think he would be someone that would go, right, okay, thanks, boss. I'm going to work on that. I'll see what I can do. Whereas I don't think Mora more than Bergwijn, possibly.
Bergwijn, I don't think would do it personally.
The reason I'm saying all this is because I think Royale's shocking.
I can agree with you with that one.
Shocking.
I think he's one of the worst signings we've done in like.
I think he's a waste of space. Saying that, he played against Man City and we won that game. But I think Bergwijn. I think we need to find a solution, and the solution is either Sessegnon there or Royale there. And if it's, so you've got a left footer who's trying to find his place in the team, a right footer who's a wing back but is useless. What's the third? What would your third option be?
Lucas.
Mine's Harry Winks. Only because I think if you said to him and you worked with him and you said, right, I've had an idea. You at right wing back. You're not playing in midfield because that's Bentancur and Holbier. Yeah. What do you think? And he'd work on it. He'd go, right, what do you want me to do, boss? And he'd do that. What do you think?
My reservation with Winks is whether he can play in that. He doesn't seem fast enough. I would put in Lucas if I had to pick a third choice. It'd probably be Lucas because I think he would give it his all. I'm not saying he'll be good at it. I've never seen him play in that position.
No.
And the only other evidence I'll give is that, when we beat Arsenal during lockdown, Lucas played as sort of like in that sort of position, I think, under Mourinho.
Did he?
Yeah, when we beat them at the Lane or Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, whatever you call it. So maybe he can just do it again. I don't know.
Yeah. But
that's the only player I would consider personally.
But that is the trouble, you see. I'm racking my brain trying to think, like I say, as a school manager, I've got like, 10 strikers, 2 midfielders and 1 defender. So I have to tell the kids. I say I can only have 1 striker, 2 strikers.
I know what you're saying. Everyone wants to be a striker when they're
that's what I mean. So I have to sort of say, right, what are these players that want to play striker can get stuck in? Who can do a job for me? Who can I ask that's not going to get stroppy? So I say little Tommy, Tommy, could you come and play defender for me? And goes and tells his dad, sorry, Tommy doesn't play striker for his Sunday club. Doesn't play defender. He plays up front for his. I'll go, oh, thank you very much. That's Tommy struck off the list. But, you get some kid, little Mickey, and you go, Mickey, I know you're a left winger for your Sunday team, but can you come and play left wing back for me? Yeah. And and Dad comes over and says, "Thank you very much, Mr. Robinson. Yeah, thanks for giving me the opportunity." You go like that. Ah, brilliant! Thank you very much. And they do a job for you. And this is what I mean. I'm trying to look around that Spurs team and go, who could Conte go to and say, we've got a problem. Royale's not good enough. Yeah. Sessegnon's left-footed, and quite frankly, I want him to play left wing back because Richarlison's been rubbish. Who could he go to and say, would you do a job at right wing back for me?
Okay, and the only person I can think of is Lucas.
Lucas, possibly.
Because I just think he would most like with Lucas, I've been told by a lot of people because they've been at these games. I'm not just saying it just randomly, but he goes and watches like the women's games. He goes and watches the under 23s, the under 21s. Like he just loves the club. So Lucas for me is probably the only person I think, he can maybe do a job there because he'll just give it his all.
Yeah.
I don't know if he'll get it, but
you couldn't put Sanchez there.
I was thinking of Dyer, but I think he's too slow. He won't play there.
Do you know Dyer started there, didn't he? Against West Ham.
Played at right back, but not
his
right
first
wing
ever
back.
game.
Yeah, it was right back, not right wing back though.
That annoys me though. That annoys me. All you Spurs fans that talk about, they're a wing back, not a left back.
But like Emerson for me,
that annoys the hell out of me because I'm like, oh really? So you can play wing back, but you can't play right back. What are you talking about?
With Emerson the other way around,
left-footed centre back and a right-footed centre back. Not in my day. Not in my day.
But like with the whole change of positions thing, for example, for me, I play 8 aside sometimes on a Monday. Now I predominantly play on the wing, but I have played in defence before. And some people I play with, who I play 5 aside with, it just happens to be the same people. We play like twice a week sometimes. On Wednesdays it's a 5 aside. On a Monday it's like an 8 aside. but some of the same people turn up to both, right? It's just hard to explain. But for example, us three who played together on the Wednesday, the other week, I'm just talking just random stuff here, but I played right back. One of my friends played left back, and the other one played as a centre half. But he's played as a centre half before. Now, me and my other friend who played left back and right back, we're strikers when we play five-a-side, but we just dropped because no one was taking the spots. And like surprisingly, I was actually quite good at for right back in that position. But its difference is I was willing to do the job, right? So
Yeah.
But are these players like Harry Winks, who's not even happy, just like he's probably on his way out, let's be honest. Like, would he come in and play at right wing back? I just can't see it. With someone like Lucas, who probably wants to stay at the club, let's be honest.
No, but Harry Winks wants to stay at the club. And look, I mean, it's just a suggestion. It's not like...
I'm not saying you're wrong. I've never seen it before.
And also, this is just a conversation, this is just a conversation that I'm thinking, who can you have this conversation with?
Yeah.
Again, it's like, Rodon, would you go to Rodon and say, look, Rodon, you haven't played a game, but can you play at right back? Rodon will probably say no, just from my... Or he might say, actually, I'll blimmin' play in goal if you want me to, because he might be that way inclined.
So what do you think about Rodon then? Because he's not been fancied by 4 managers.
No idea.
Because for Wales, he's really good.
Once again, you're like, what goes on at the club with him? Is he does he not train hard enough? Is he just not good enough? Is it what is it with him? I remember listening to somebody talk about Gerrard, and I think it was Gerrard and Carragher. I think it might have been Danny Murphy or someone talking about when they used to get a new player in at Liverpool, that you'd see the two of them have a conversation within the first 5 minutes, like go over and say like, oh, what do you think? He's not very, and they I think it was Danny Murphy that was telling the story. And I think Joe Allen,
I remember him. Yeah.
And they and whoever it was saw Jamie Carragher go over to go to Gerrard and they two of them were just shaking their head and like pointing and going, who is this guy? What is this we've bought? That sort of thing. So I wonder at Spurs, like, if they're looking, they have those conversations. Go, who is this guy that we bought? What is going on? Oh dear. But
I've heard some weird stories about him, but I don't know if it's true, so I don't want to say it. Like he's a bit of a party boy, but I don't know if it's true.
I don't know. I think he's straight as they come, aren't they? If you look at you.
I know his brother's quite big on Twitter. Yeah. I was wondering.
I got in trouble for having a go at another player for the way he looks and his lifestyle. So, no, do whatever you want.
I'm only speculating. Do
whatever you want. To me, but
I don't know. I mean, it's quite a shame because he looked quite good for Wales. So I don't really know what's happened to him. It's just really weird.
Yeah,
he doesn't play. So
I think you can do whatever you want. I am like as left as they can. Do whatever you want, whenever you want to do it. As long as it's not infringing on anyone, not hurting anybody. But I just think, look, if you're having a tough time of it, just lay off the things that might give the wrong impression. That's the advice I would give to my son, for example.
Yeah. I think with someone like Delhi,
that's why I said, it's like, but then he got his hair cut and he's still rubbish. So, that backfired. And Ruud Gullit had dreads for his entire career, and he was absolutely fantastic. So,
I think with Delhi's a good example of that sort of thing because I feel like he kind of lost his focus with football.
Yeah,
I mean, I could be wrong. It could be something else as well, but. And if we take an overall general perspective,
the money. We were talking, me and my wife were talking about money and stuff, and how much we earn and what you can do with it and everything. And we have a lovely time, holidays here and there and what have you. And I'm a teacher, right?
Yeah, I know you don't earn much.
She works in a shop.
Teachers don't really earn enough.
And we get help. We get help here and there, from our parents and stuff, which is lovely. But these guys, the worst player. Who's the worst player at Spurs Rodon. He's probably on,
50, I think.
50 grand a week, right?
Emerson, which is a good argument for him now.
Emerson will be on at least 50
I think
grand
it's on
a week.
60. I think it's on 60.
Yeah,
I might be
60
wrong.
grand a week.
Yeah.
And you just think, look at best example of the Pogba, right? So Pogba plays against Liverpool, right?
Yeah.
They go 1-0 down. And Pogba's looking around going, no thanks. Pretends to be injured. Pogba's off, right? What's Pogba's salary? Is it 350?
It's something crazy. I can't remember.
It's got to be 250 or
250. I think it's 250. Right? Yeah, it must be something like that.
So he hobbles off, right? And he sits down and he looks at his bank balance. I mean, this money is absolutely incredible. Is there no end to it? I mean,
I think football for me, growing up when I was obviously watching football like the late 90s and the 2000s, it was less commercialized. Nowadays, it's so commercialized. So I think obviously that's meant more money for the Premier League.
I remember when we signed Klinsmann, and it was when we signed Klinsmann.
Yeah.
The papers said, "Oh, he's on 35 grand a week," and it was like, "What? We're paying? Although it's a brilliant striker, we're paying him 35 grand a week." And I mean, that is ridiculous money now, isn't it?
Yeah.
Can you imagine getting £35,000 every single week?
That's mental to think
it's
about.
Mad.
Really.
I mean, top managers in any business, estate agents or whatever business, 35 grand a week is. But that's like, who gets 35 grand a week? Ivan Toney. Does he get 35 grand a week?
Yeah, I'm sure he gets something like that. Maybe 50. I mean, I don't know, but it must be something like that.
Probably. And if, by the way, he goes in the summer, which he probably will do, because strikers of his ilk are few and far between. He'll probably go Chelsea or something like that for an extortionate amount of money. Mind you, can they make trade? I don't know. With
Chelsea are a bit of a mess. I don't know what's going on.
Do you know what? And I love Lewis Hamilton, and he's going to blimmin' well buy Chelsea, and I'm going to have to hate him. I won't like that at all.
Isn't some Swedish guy buying Chelsea?
Well, today it was Lewis Hamilton, and I was like, please
okay. I didn't know it changed each day because I only followed it at the beginning.
I was like, please.
And I was like,
also, what's quite amusing about that is that a lot of Chelsea fans will probably hate the idea. And that amuses me as well.
Well, one of my closest friends is a Chelsea fan, so it's a bit weird. But he was very upset with this whole Abramovich stuff. Not because he just liked Abramovich, but obviously it's ruining the club. And it's not exactly the fans' fault. I don't think it's the fans' fault.
No. So here's my view on it. It's not the fans' fault. Yeah. So therefore, they shouldn't be punished.
Yeah, they're being punished.
But at the same time, you can't get the success either. So what we do, here's my solution. We reset the before Abramovich. So what we
give
do,
us the title.
we take away all the honours that they've won, because hang on, if you don't want the failure of Abramovich, then you can't have the success. So it's not your fault that Abramovich is a corrupt Russian guy, allegedly, and all this. If your words, Chelsea fans, then you can't have the success either. You can't have both. You can't have one or the other.
Is that how we win the title? Both. Is that how we win the title?
So that's fine. If you don't want to be punished, why are we being punished? Well, you're being punished because of your chairman. If you don't want that, then you can't have the success either. Fair?
It does make sense.
Fair. There you go.
But I don't think it will happen, though. I don't think they'll just take away all of the success.
Of course it won't.
It doesn't work like that in football. It doesn't work like that in football.
They've had 20 years of absolute bliss, and I can't see it ending. They'll win the FA Cup. They'll win the FA Cup.
You think? I think Liverpool are going to win the quadruple personally, but
because Chelsea will win it because they're too good. I mean, they were terrible against Arsenal, but that's because they played their B team. Liverpool what is it? The Liverpool will have to play because, of course, the FA Cup is before the last game of the season as well, isn't it?
Yeah.
So Liverpool will want to win that last game of the season.
It
I
depends
think
where they are, I guess. But
yeah.
if I still fancy Liverpool to be City for the title as well.
Let's do it then. So European Cup.
Yeah. I think they're going to win the quadruple.
Champions League for the
and Liverpool
newbies.
winning the quadruple. I'm not even
Do
joking.
you reckon they'll win it all?
Yeah.
I will go for City European Cup
For Champions League, finally.
Champions League.
Yeah.
I will go for
Chelsea FA Cup.
League for Liverpool.
Yeah.
I will go for Chelsea FA Cup. Roma to win the Europa. Are they playing West Ham?
No.
In the semi?
No. Frankfurt have got West Ham, I think.
Oh, I know. Roma have got the conference, haven't they?
Yeah.
Because they're playing Leicester.
Yeah.
So Roma.
And the other leg is Leipzig against someone else, I think, for the Europa.
Roma are going to win the
conference,
and they'll all say, "Oh, look at that! Mourinho's won a trophy." Every club
it's bound to happen, though.
Even though it's the soppiest of soppy cups. And then no, West Ham won't win.
I think they will. I think they will win the Europa League. West Ham, yeah, because I think all their eggs are in that basket now.
Do you think that that's a good idea to do that?
Well, I don't see West Ham catching us or Arsenal now.
That's what I mean. So if it was us, right?
Yeah.
And this is the problem we've always had. We go, right, we're in the semi-final of the FA Cup, we're in the Europa Cup quarter-final, and we're sixth in the league. And what our problem is we can't seem
manage them all.
Manage it.
Yeah.
And you get that, you yourself, I know you've said it, and Paul Coit certainly said it on my podcast several years ago. And other podcasters say, "Oh, let's try and win them all. Let's go for them all." And you go, "Yeah, I know what you're saying. Oh, I'm greedy. I want to win them all. I know what you're saying, but actually, in reality,
it's not going to happen.
We can't. You've got to just go for one." And that's kind of what West Ham have done. And well done, West Ham, actually, for still sort of winning the odd game here or there, because they're still in the mix.
I think West Ham under Moyes just look like they found their match, if that makes sense.
It's not as if they're mid-table. No. They're still in the mix, kind of. But they've gone, right, Europa Cup, we're going for it. Oh, don't we know it from the blimmin' West Ham fans you speak
to? On Twitter.
Jeez.
Jeez. So do you think we'll finish top four then? Like, hand on heart, do you think we'll finish top four?
Who?
Spurs. Do you think we'll finish top four or not? Because Man United are sort of back in it-ish. And obviously Arsenal. It's us and Arsenal.
United are probably my biggest worry.
I'm more worried about Arsenal now.
They've all got to play each other. That is one thing.
I think Saturday will make a huge say into what's
a draw is probably the best result for us.
Yeah.
And then it's all about us. It's all about us. It's all about us anyway, even if we lose to Liverpool.
Mm.
So we've got a game in hand, in effect. Because we lose to Liverpool, because of our goal difference, I don't think it makes that is like the extra point. Yeah, that is the extra point because we've got such a good goal difference.
But us and Arsenal are on the same points now. It's just a goal difference that we have.
That's right, and that's what I mean. So, but if we beat Arsenal, but then the week that we lose to Liverpool, they win.
It's just before Arsenal.
Liverpool. Do you know what I mean? So that's kind of the goal difference is the extra point. They've got to play? They'll beat West Ham because that game is in between the European games. So they'll beat West Ham. Don't worry about that. I think Arsenal away from home aren't that good, although they're good at Chelsea. Like what? You don't know with Arsenal. I mean,
I think they're quite like us.
Nketiah apparently is like the best player ever, even though he was gifted 2 goals. Please play the pass straight into Harry Kane and see how brilliant he is. But
I think the advantage we have over Arsenal for me also is we've got Conte, number one.
Yeah,
We've got Kane and Son, so just more experienced players
that's
in
it.
general.
Yeah,
And I think Arteta, for me, I'm personally not sold on him as a manager. And I think they have a very inexperienced squad, so I think that we count against them compared to us. But I think it will go down to the derby. I think we'll have to beat him in the derby to stay above them.
What a game that's going to be.
I mean, I'm worried already.
You don't want it to
like
be, though,
3
do you?
weeks.
You want that game to be an
No.
absolutely damp squib. And
But I know it's not going to be. I know
it's not going to
that
be.
way.
We're going to be level on point, or we'll be 3 points behind them,
and have to beat them to go
and
above
have to
them.
beat them.
Yeah.
And it will be like, or 6 points behind them even, and we'll have to beat them to get back in the running, and then we'll have to beat Liverpool. Oh God!
No, Liverpool's before Arsenal.
Huh?
We've got Liverpool away just before Arsenal.
Oh God!
Because it's on the 7th, and then we've got Arsenal on the 12th on the Thursday. It's really weird.
Yeah. Well, that's why we're gonna. That's why we've got to lose that Liverpool game, because we've got to play a B team. We'll do a Chelsea and play a B team.
I don't think even if we played our A team, we would win anyway. So I just don't see it.
What, against Liverpool?
Yeah, I just don't see it.
Oh, no chance. No chance at all.
They're just too good.
They're a fantastic team.
Yeah. I think they're probably the best team in Europe for me.
But again, you look at injuries. Who's most likely to twist their ankle between now and the end of the season? Salah, Mane, or Kane? Put all your money on Kane. Salah and Mane.
But they have Diaz and Jota as well.
Yeah.
So they've got options.
They have got options. We've got options.
Firmino as well.
Lucas and Bergwijn, they're good. They're good options.
I know, but
they're not brilliant options. They're not as brilliant as those two.
Like Jota and Diaz are just. Jota's been a brilliant signing for them.
What a brilliant. But
they just know. I think with Liverpool, they just know how to recruit compared to us. I'm hoping it changes under Paratici, but we'll see what happens, I guess.
Look, but you've got to remember that all these signings, when we don't get them, they go to Liverpool, they go to United, they go to City. We haven't missed out on a player that we were after, and they chose West Ham. No. And in recent times, we haven't lost out on a player who's chosen Arsenal. So sometimes you have to remember that yes, we lost out on a player. I mean, your big one was Mane, and it's like, yeah, but he did choose Liverpool.
Well, from what I heard, Levy didn't want to pay his wages. That's what I heard.
Well, but he did choose. He went to, that speculation.
He went to Spurs training ground.
At the end of the day, he went to Liverpool, but he didn't go to. What I mean is, he didn't go to West Ham.
But at the time,
now West Ham are amazing.
I know you said that, but at the time, we were above Liverpool. It was a season we finished second.
I mean, we finished above Liverpool something like 9 out of
till 2018.
Yeah,
we were just.
But in the history of Liverpool versus Spurs, they are a million miles ahead of us. So it's not even, okay. In the last 15 years, we finished above them 9 out of 11. Or what?
That's what I'm saying. It's some crazy.
Liverpool had a slump for 9 years, if you like, kind of the slump that United are going through. It'd be a bit like saying now, and it is true. Kane can go to United because. If you're a neutral, you'd say, oh, actually, United have got a better chance, right? But with Kane, he can have a better chance, or he can be a Spurs legend, right? The number one Spurs legend, which he will be if he gets past Jimmy Greasy's record and carries on at Spurs and ends his career at Spurs. He will be regarded as the greatest ever Spurs striker.
It's true.
And probably player, right? If he stays. Or he can leave and go to United and possibly win some kind of League Cup or something, but most likely finish top 4 couple of years, and might get to a quarterfinal of the Champions, something like that, right?
So, do you not see Kane going abroad ever?
No, he doesn't want to. Okay, again, if he wants to, fine, but he doesn't want to, right? Again, to be the Premier League scorer, which he wants to do. He's got to stay. He might go abroad. Look, if Bayern Munich came in for him, he should go to Bayern Munich because Bayern Munich will win. But then he comes home, and it's a bit like Chris Sutton, who says, "Oh, I won loads of trophies." And you didn't. You won Celtic. Scottish trophies. What do they mean? Look at my winners' medal. It's the Bundesliga.
It's very different.
Bayern Munich. What is that on the grand scheme of things? It's not the Premier League. Premier League is the number one league, So you can go and win the Bundesliga, no problem. But it's what is that? But the point I'm getting to is if you're a player from another side, take a Declan Rice, okay, or a Ward-Prowse, okay, and you've got United or Spurs, and you choose United. You do choose United.
You think?
Because they are the biggest club in the world. Right?
But are they anymore?
Of course they are. Of course they are. They are the biggest. Liverpool run them close. And of course, you've got the Spanish clubs and everything, but their league is not watched anything like ours.
It's not.
All over the world. My family in Dubai, and they say the Premier League is on the whole time. They absolutely every waiter, every staff, everybody that lives and works in Dubai as a person that grew up there is mad keen on English football. They know Real Madrid and Barcelona, but they don't follow it. You know what I mean? So Man United are the biggest club in the world, and Liverpool are, as well, or close second. So what I'm saying is, players that we've missed out on. We haven't missed out on players that have gone. Tim Cahill went to Chelsea.
I remember that. Yeah.
We haven't missed out on players that have gone to Everton, for example. Have we? That we were after?
Not like I remember. So, it's mostly Liverpool, to be honest.
The league is not all that bad.
My issue is he doesn't move quick enough for players. You can't with teams like obviously City or Liverpool or all these other teams. They go and just get the deal done. We're sitting there going, oh no, I don't want to give you that extra $5 million. Oh no, I don't want to give you that. Oh no, it's fine.
Don't you think though that City kind of did that with Kane?
Yeah, but I think the problem with Kane is his age. I think they probably didn't want to bid a certain amount because of how old he was.
I mean, if City had
this is why they've moved for Haaland now.
If City had bought Kane,
they'd have won the league.
Instead of Grealish,
they'd have won the league.
They'd be talking quadruples now, surely.
Yeah, I think they would have won the league comfortably.
Yeah, comfortably.
I don't know why they went for Grealish. It seems a bit strange to me.
Well, and every player's for sale, but and I'm sitting there in the sun, and my dad's going, just shake Kane's hand and let him go. And I said, yeah, you're right, Dad, but what's the offer from City? And he said, well, Jamie Redknapp said it's 125 million. It's not. It wasn't. Was it?
I think it was like 80 mil, wasn't it, or something?
Yeah, 75 million plus
add-ons or something. Yeah,
that's not enough.
Yeah.
Pay the money.
You can't let him go for that amount of money.
Pay the money, and he's probably even worth more now. And when you're talking about Modric, he's 35, 36, still winning, European Cups possibly, then Kane, who is at the top of his game, he's not fading. He's getting better and better and better. So you've got to pay that money. Because Levy is not sentimental. If I was in charge of Spurs and Kane came to me and said, I think I've done enough for Tottenham, please may I go to Man City? And Man City said, okay, well, we'll offer 120 million. Then I might go, do you know what? Okay, all right. Levy's not doing that.
No.
Levy's going, I don't care. I want 150 million and
right
not
now.
A penny less because I'm Daniel Levy. And you've got to give him credit for that.
But the thing is,
that's where he's good. Getting the money in.
I think Man City got greedy, to be honest. I think they wanted both. And they were like, we can only spend, say, 200 mil, just as an example. So you know what we'll do? We'll pay for Grealish, get the 100 mil release clause. I think it was 100 mil or something, wasn't it? Something crazy. Was it 100 million?
Grealish, yeah.
Yeah, it was the release clause because he made an agreement with the Villa
And
chairman.
Kane hasn't got a release clause.
So you can't put a price on Kane because he doesn't have a release clause.
Has Kane still got the same agent? His brother.
I don't know his brother. I don't know about that anymore.
We haven't
Actually,
heard about him for a while, have we?
Charlie Kane.
Yeah.
Do you remember the hate you got on Twitter after that?
He's an Arsenal fan, isn't he, Charlie Kane? I think he's an Arsenal fan.
Yeah, he is.
Yeah. But look, again, my insight...
Personally, I see Kane staying. I don't think he's going in the summer.
My insight, which is pretty good, ITK, I'm better than any ITK for Fabrizio. I'm better than him. My ITK on the Kane was that George, what's his name? The brother? Charlie Kane, walked in and just like within 30 seconds, Levy just went,
no.
Who is this young whippersnapper? Not happening. Not happening. Bye.
But Kane people forgot like Kane even came back late, remember? From like what was it? Beginning of the season he came back late and obviously he didn't play the first few games, did he, Kane?
So do you know what annoyed me about that is listening to Tony Adams talking on a podcast, and he was going on about how he once didn't come back from pre-season training or something like that for ages, and he got in big trouble and and he said, "Oh, can you imagine Harry Kane doing that?" And he went, "Oh," and then he said, "Oh, that's not a good example." But the facts are, where was Harry Kane staying?
He was abroad, wasn't he?
Yeah, where was he? Where was he?
Yeah.
In Joe Lewis's villa in the Bahamas.
Was he?
Yes.
Oh wow.
So of course the club knew where he was. He was staying in the owner's villa.
I didn't know that. I knew he was abroad, but
the club don't have to say why he's there or what's going on. But my perception is that Kane's played 5 seasons straight. He's played the Euros, and they've said to him, for goodness sake, go and have a month off, rest yourself. And by the way, here's the keys to our villa in the Bahamas. Knock yourself out.
Yeah.
That's what happened. He wasn't. I think he went to America as well.
He went to America, I remember. Yeah.
Yeah, but they don't have to reveal everything. They don't have to reveal, like, oh, this is what's happened here. But it's come out that that's what happened. Okay? So it's not, no, he didn't go AWOL on a drinking binge to Vegas or whatever, what Tony Adams did. He went with his family, his young kids, and he stayed in the owner's villa for a couple of weeks to recuperate fully, and then he came back to Spurs. So, these facts are listening tonight to, do you remember when Spurs bottled it and they lost to Newcastle 5-1 and they didn't get in the Champions League? And me and my son looked at each other and went, well, that's not true. And you get call-ins and phone-ins. Oh yeah, Spurs bottled it.
Talk sport.
And then about 10 minutes later, the guy goes, "Who's the United fan?" Andy Goldstein went, "Oh, yeah. I've just been told that Spurs didn't not qualify for the Champions League. What it was that they came third, not second." Right. Well, so we didn't bottle the Champions League in that instance. We came third instead of second when we'd already qualified for the Champions League for the first time in our first time in years. Not the first time, because Redknapp did it first. Yeah. But for the first time in years and years, and we happened to muck up the last game of the season to finish below Arsenal. But in the grand scheme of things, doesn't matter because we finished above them. Yeah. We finished above them the next 5 years anyway. Yeah. So and we'll probably finish above them again this year. So it's not that big a deal. But don't make stuff up. That annoys me.
I'm quite bad though. I will listen to Talk Sport, but because I work and stuff, I only listen to it really in the evenings when I'm just maybe if I'm like out somewhere or something. But I won't really listen to it like religiously. I'll just put it on in the background and I'll just listen. I'll be like, what are they talking about? How's this relevant to the game? Or like I'll put it on the way to, because I play football, like I said, on a Monday or a Wednesday, and say there's a match on, I'll just put it on, talk sport, just hear the commentary. But
Yeah.
I'm not really like the kind of person who just has it on all the time, so I don't know these things, to be honest with you. But I know from like the videos they post on Twitter.
That's
I'm
what
like,
I get.
What?
That's what I get.
Happened?
But it was just so happened tonight that we were just listening to it on the way to my son's football.
Yeah.
And they just said, oh, just throw these throwaway comments, oh, Spurs are bottlers. Spurs, didn't qualify for this. So, and even I listen to Arsenal podcasts, so you don't have to.
Do you?
And and Alan Davis on the most unfunny podcast ever. And he goes, don't worry about Spurs. They'll go Spursy like they always do. And you just go, you haven't finished above us for 5 years. There hasn't been a St. Tottering's Day for 5 years. I'm quite happy that you still think we aren't a threat, because the fact is that we've taken their place for the last 5 years in the Champions League or whatever. This year was the Conference League, but and please, if we do finish below them this year, can we not be in the Conference League? But which will probably, because I don't think Wolves can now get up to that position. But anyway, it's like, stop. Why are you lying? To stop lying? Stop making stuff up.
Yeah.
On the one hand, Arsenal go, oh yeah, we win trophies, Spurs don't. On the other hand, they're going, oh, the last 10 years are the worst years ever, or the last 5 years have been absolutely dreadful. Wait there, you've won 4 FA Cups in the last 5 years.
What are you complaining about?
What are you complaining about? And I know what they're complaining about. It's the fact that the league is what it's all about. And I know we used to say, like, take the mickey out and go, oh, 4th place is not a trophy. Sorry, it is. It's better than a trophy. It's better than a trophy. It's the day of the cup is fantastic. Don't get me wrong. The day that we beat Chelsea in the League Cup final,
I remember,
was the greatest day. Yeah. The greatest day. But the lead up to it and the subsequent year after, Robbie Keane left, Berbatov left,
Defoe. Well, he got sold. It's a bit
and we didn't win a game for the rest of the season, or we won one. The lead up to it, we're losing games constantly. The actual day is fantastic, but like going into where I work every day, winning games, particularly under Pochettino, week in, week out, wonderful. Being second in the league, third in the league. I know we didn't win it, but just winning week in, week out, fantastic.
See, this is where I disagree with you, because if we were finishing top 4 and building on it, I'd have a different view of it. Because, like, for example, the first example I think off the top of my head, because we're talking about Pochettino, is we finished 3rd that season, the Leicester season, and we went and bought Nkudu, Janssen, Sissoko, Paul Lopez, because we got Wanyama as well. But I wouldn't consider that building on what we did, because we just stood still or even went backwards in the end. And obviously went through that, how long not signing a player in 2018? I can't remember how many days was it. It was like a record number of days. So if we were finishing top 4 and we were saying signing the players like Paul Mitchell wanted and Poch wanted,
I know, but you're talking
and the Manes and the people like that, then I'd be like, yeah it's fine. I'm okay finishing top 4.
That's a good example, because Mane went to Liverpool, you see.
I know, but I'm saying we would be building on, like, if we didn't burn Mane, shouldn't there been an alternative? You'd think, right? I don't think it wasn't Kudu, but
of course it wasn't. And some of and a lot of teams do, absolutely. We made mistakes.
But this time, for this time, do you think if we finish top 4, we'll make the same mistakes or not?
Because I look. Obviously you're looking at it from maybe a 20-year. From first supporting Spurs, like, properly, when you know what's going on. Yeah. I'm looking at it from my first. I'm 46, so for my first 20 years, we were absolutely.
I know you're brilliant.
Rubbish, right?
Didn't Spurs win trophies in like the 80s and the FA Cups?
I got into Spurs when I was properly. I was quite late. I was like 10. So we lost to Coventry in the FA Cup final.
Oh, I've heard about this final.
But what a brilliant season, a brilliant team. But we lost the final. But what a season. I mean, it's funny, just going back to that season. If maybe we'd have not worried about the league or maybe the League Cup and just focused on, I don't know, we probably would have won one of those trophies. But the fact is that we went for everything. And that's probably what we do too many times.
We don't have the depth to do it, though. That's the difference.
No, we don't focus on one thing.
But we don't. Teams like City,
we're too concerned with winning everything. What we should have done, from when the League Cup wasn't as. See, the League Cup in the last, I'd say, 10 years has gone back to being a big competition. Because in the last 10 years, only City, Liverpool, Chelsea have won it, right?
Yeah.
The prior 10 years, that you had Swansea's and Swansea
Wigan, I think.
Bradford. No, Wigan won the FA Cup. But it was certain teams like Birmingham. Birmingham beat Arsenal, right? What we should have done during those years is we should have gone, right, Spurs need to be in the League Cup. And Aston Villa should have done it as well. And Newcastle and Everton and all those teams that weren't good enough to get into those Champions League places. They should have focused on the league. But no one ever did. They just played second string teams, and it was crazy. But look, if we actually need a trophy so badly, next season, stop playing. When we play Chelsea in the semi-final, play a B team in the game before to get through that game. Because if we do that, we probably will. Because Chelsea will probably play a B team in the semi-final when we definitely play them next year in the League Cup semi-final, right?
If Tuchel's still there, I don't know.
But make it clear that this is what we're doing. But we don't do that. We play our full-strength side against whoever it is on the Wednesday, on the Saturday or Sunday, and then we play the same team against Chelsea in the second leg of the League Cup on the Wednesday, and we go out. And that's why we don't win trophies. In my opinion,
we don't have the depth. Like if you look at a team like Liverpool, they have the depth to make changes and tweaks.
Liverpool.
Huh?
Because it's Liverpool.
Yeah, but we don't have the depth. We need that depth. That's what I'm trying to say.
We can't get it. We can't get the depth.
We can't.
We can't get it. Liverpool are the biggest, massive team. And the point is, West Ham don't have the depth.
No, they don't.
Is that because David Moyes isn't a good manager? Is that because Gold and Sullivan don't invest enough in the team? No, it's because they're West Ham.
But then you can't just say because we're just Tottenham, we don't have the depth. Like,
correct.
We can get the depth.
Correct.
But we can get the depth. Yes, we can.
We can't get the depth.
We can.
This is a great discussion, but we're an hour and a half into this now.
Yeah, and we already spoke about Brentford for probably about 20 minutes.
We can't get the depth.
We can.
We can't. We can't get the depth.
Because the way Liverpool did it,
there is no way we can get the depth.
No, but the way Liverpool did it, they bought a core of players, and then they've added 2 or 3 each season on top to top a lot.
Yeah, because
they had that core.
Because they're Liverpool.
11, 14 at the time.
It's so
and then they
simple.
went and bought Chimikas, Konate, and they added around it. We had that under Poch, and we didn't add around it.
No, because it's Tottenham. You can't. It is. It's sorry. I know you're like, Tottenham is amazing. Tottenham is the best thing ever. Your agent. You're playing for whoever you're playing for. Porto, let's say.
Yeah.
Let's take the Luis guy.
Yeah,
it is, right? Your agent goes, Tottenham want you. Okay, that sounds interesting. Fancy that. Just got a phone call from Liverpool. Sign me up. Oh,
because Liverpool already higher than us right now.
We haven't even discussed terms. Doesn't matter. It's Liverpool.
It's because Liverpool right now are higher than they're one of the best teams in Europe.
And this is the thing. So 10 years ago or whatever, when we were at Wembley, people focus on that game when we beat them 4-1.
I remember that. Yeah.
Yeah. What was the score the year before? 4-0 to them. 3-0 away. 4-0 at home. 5-0 away. 4-0 at home. With Luis Suarez getting a load of goals.
Or 10
I
years
know we
before
finished
that,
above
yeah.
them in the league.
Well, that's when AVB got sacked, right? The
Yeah,
5-0.
but what I'm talking about is Liverpool are Liverpool. They're the biggest. Them and United are the biggest teams in the world. And so to compare us to those two, it is wrong to do that. We've got to compare ourselves. We can't even compare ourselves to Arsenal because Arsenal, unfortunately, have built a legacy under Arsene Wenger, which is absolutely massive. And still to this day, although we are better, right, then if a player is like Ward-Prowse, for example, will probably choose Arsenal above Spurs because they are Arsenal. They've won more trophies. They've got more history. And it pains me to say it, and it sticks in my throat. But Ward-Prowse isn't choosing West Ham, by the way. And this is the point. So if West Ham, let's say West Ham finish 4th and we finish 5th this year, Ward-Prowse, I almost guarantee you, if
Tottenham
the
over.
phone call comes, would choose Tottenham over West Ham. And the same, and this is the point about Liverpool and Spurs.
But Liverpool are already above us. So Liverpool are already above us.
Even back then. Even back. Mane, when he got the phone call, wasn't going, well, let me wait to see what Spurs are doing. He'd have been like that. Liverpool, of course I'm going to go to Liverpool. That's what I think.
It's
anyway.
a debate for another day anyway.
That's what I don't
because we could debate about this all night.
I don't think, well, I just don't think players choose Spurs above Liverpool. Even when we were finishing above them for those few years, a few years ago, I don't think, I think players, like I say, Kane has got a decision to make. Is he going to stay at Spurs or go to Man United?
Yeah.
I think he stays at Spurs. But let's come up with another player we haven't even said yet. Richarlison at Everton. His agent says, Spurs, they are, let's say we finish 4th in the league, right? Do you want to go to Spurs, they're 4th, or do you want to go to United 5th? I think he would probably choose United.
You think? Oh.
I think he would because Brazilian, it's Man United, they're a massive club. You know, saying that, he might say, actually, Conte. I want to play Champions League.
Conte.
You know, and play with Conte. But that's, you know, that's like, again, that's such recent history. That's like now. But generally, what I'm saying is, you know, it's Liverpool, it's United, and we're trying to compare ourselves to them. And at the end of the day, I think it was Martin Heiser, one of the old listeners to the Hotspurs podcast and all the rest of them. Yeah. He said to me, and I remember him saying it. We were in the Bell and Hare, and we were talking about Liverpool, and it was like 7 or 8 years ago when we finished above them. All those. Like for 3 or 4 seasons.
Yeah.
And we were talking about whoever we were. I can't remember. But he looked at me square in the eyes. He went, don't forget, it's Liverpool. And I was like, yeah, you're right. Because they are an absolute global massive club. And we still aren't. You go anywhere in the world and you will see in a sports shop Liverpool shirts, United shirts. And unfortunately now you'll see Chelsea shirts and City shirts. You might even see a few Arsenal shirts. You won't see any Tottenham shirts.
I don't know about the US though. Spurs are quite big in the US at the moment. At least.
US maybe, but I'm talking about the dodgy shops that you go to when
dodgy shops
next to on the beach.
Sports Direct or something.
No, you're not dodgier than that. You dodgy little shops you go to on the beach. Anyway, right. That was great.
Yeah, so just before we go, just prediction, like an actual score prediction for Saturday for,
Yeah, so it's either going to be 1-1 with a brilliant Eriksen equaliser, or what I'm hoping is that they've had a kick up the backside, Son and Kane did a business, and we win, let's say, a nice, lovely 3-0.
Oh, okay. I'm going for 2-0, personally.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good.
Okay.
Well, thanks very much.
Good. Thanks for having. It's been good having you on. I haven't seen you in a while, but take care. Let me just end the broadcast.
No.
Okay.
No.